Alright, man, welcome back to another Hood Nature Action. Today we got animals that deserve a second Mother's Day. Like always, let's not waste any time though, and just get right into this one, man.
Being a mom is a thankless job, and I personally couldn't have any of it. According to salary.com, if moms got paid for every single thing they did, we're talking about like housekeeping, chef, school tutor, financial manager, nurse, nutritionist, management analyst, HR department, driver. If you add it all up, we're looking at mothers earning an annual salary of $184,820. And that's for the stay-at-home moms. If you manage to have a job on top of that, good luck, Charlie. Let's just think about it like this. SpongeBob was Employee of the Month 374 straight times.
Damn!
Carried the Krusty Krab like LeBron in Cleveland. Literally had to pay his boss.
Employee of the Month 374 times? Wait, how many months is that? Wait, that makes SpongeBob like old as shit.
To work there, and took it all with a smile. Role-played mommy for 5 days and nearly caught a life sentence on the 6th. It's hard being a mom, especially since humans make the most helpless babies in nature, and we pretty much stay that way for the next 18 years, and usually longer. And this is because the insanely high learning curve of being a functional member of society means that babies have the self-preservation skills. That same high learning curve is why orangutans are the biggest mama's boys in nature. It literally takes them 7, 8, sometimes 9 years to be emancipated from their mother's teeth.
Bro, what?
Orangutans are the heaviest animals to spend most of their lives in the trees. It's the best life insurance policy when your first floor neighbor is 50 Shades of Find Out if you want to. It's why the orange ape not only plays when your first floor neighbor.
There's 100% a tiger here? Wait.
First 50 Shades of Find.
It's right here? Is that it?
Find out if you want to. It's why the orange ape not only plays floor as lava for as long as it's alive. Mama Orang built a bed from scratch for her child and herself to sleep in, and she'll make a new bed every single night. In her life, she'll make thousands. She'll also spend the better part of a decade teaching her little man of the forest how to orangutan. And she does it without an iPad or Cocomelon. She Iron Mans that shit. The motherly bond is so strong that, just like with humans, the orangs will often stay with or around their mothers even when they're past the age of being independent. Daughters might move out once they reach maturity at 12, but they'll still live close by and visit the mother orang every so often until they eventually have children of their own at like 15 or 16. But even that doesn't always cut the cord, since orangutans have been recorded visiting their mothers with their own baby in tow just to give them an opportunity to meet their grandchild. The guys are usually the ones to dip out earlier and move out further to claim a territory of their own. But every once in a while, one of nature's biggest man-children will spend their bachelor teen years being mollycoddled by their mothers rent-free. And it's obviously not just orangutans. Apes in general kind of have the whole mother thing figured out. A good example of that is Binti Jua. Ironically, she was rejected by her own mother and had to be raised and taught how to gorilla by humans. And that included how to properly care for her own child.
Wait, he's talked about this, I'm pretty sure. He's talked about this one before.
Kula. Well, one day in '96, a kid did what kids seem to do best. Fall into a gorilla pen and make it the gorilla's problem. Which Binti Jua handled by cradling the unconscious 3-year-old and gently carrying and placing him to a door where zoo officials could get to him. All with 17-month-old Kula hanging from her, watching it all go down. Nah, but like seriously, it really always is gorillas. You never hear a story about a kid trying that with chimps. But yeah, great apes are the undisputed mama's champs.
What the fuck was that?
Elephants are a close second. Right off the bat, elephants are one of the best mothers on earth and really should get a medal just for willingly going through 2 years of morning sickness.
I didn't know
Elephants spend 22 months pregnant and the next 10 years raising to 200 pounds of mass.
22 months? Holy shit.
That falls out of them. Males don't usually leave their mothers until about 16, and females usually don't leave at all. And since most of the herd is often blood related, not only is the big baby raised by a mom, but also an army of aunts, cousins, and grandmothers too. Elephants will also have baby showers where they celebrate the birth with an orchestra of trumpets and rumbles. Because they are the only animals that can afford to broadcast the arrival of the weakest, most vulnerable version of themselves.
Dude, that's so wild.
And that's because they know anyone that wants anything with the baby gotta see a 60,000-pound wall of weaponized estrogen first. They'll even make the baby shower literal by kicking up sand and dirt all over the newborn calf. But it's actually to protect its sensitive skin from the brutal sun and possibly even to mask its scent from predators looking for a come-up. Speaking of which, very few things get to mess with a baby elephant and live with the consequences. This is an elephant assaulting a crocodile with extreme prejudice. Now, I don't have the whole backstory here, but considering what it takes to get curb stomped by nature's hydraulic press, that croc 100% pressed the wrong elephant's kid. And not even other elephants get a pass. Angsty bulls will often resort to bullying smaller calves when they want to mate. And that's a great way to start a track race with every other pissed off pachyderm in the district. Elephants are so devoted to their children, they'll even confront their biggest op if it means saving them. The biggest threat to elephants aren't lions, hyenas, or down bad bulls. It's us, by far, and they know it. So when an elephant started
They'll
approaching
fuck
motorists
us
on
up?
the road, people were understandably
Bro, what
freaked
the
out.
hell?
But eventually, some people
Hell
followed her,
no.
and she led them to her baby stuck in a ditch. And it wasn't until some good Samaritans dug the
Aw.
not-so-low guy out that she left with her rescued calf by her side. Keep in mind that elephant-human relations aren't exactly the best in Asia.
Dude, that's sick. Come on, man. How do you not love that?
And hundreds have been murked by farmers trying to protect their crops. So this was the equivalent of a human walking up to a grizzly for her child's sake. And this was far from the only time something like this would happen. This one isn't as serious, but apparently this baby elephant slept so soundly that the world's biggest land mother panicked and immediately went to the zookeepers for help, which they did by waking him up. So, you know, happy ending, I guess. Elephants are so committed to their kids that even though they can live for up to 70 years, they'll only have about 4 to 5 kids in their lives. Lucky for her, she has the support of the herd, led by a grandmother matriarch who uses her experience to guide the group. It's actually the same thing orcas do. Orcas are one of the few animals that go through menopause, and you could probably count the rest on one hand. And scientists believe that this happens because orcas are top-tier grandmothers. By giving up the chance of having children past a certain age, not only is the elderly orca able to help raise her kids' it also raises the risk for competition for resources.
Dude,
all
so
while using her
sick.
vast knowledge and wisdom to help guide the next generation, just like with elephants. And it has been scientifically proven that growing up around your grandmother greatly increases your quality of life. Having an OG around means the new kids on the pod have a much better chance of survival. And no orca was more of an original grandmother than Granny, a female killer whale believed to have lived to over 80 years old, having helped bring up several grand and great-grandchildren in her pod, proving that grandmothers are in fact OP. And the mamas don't be slacking either.
True.
Matter of fact, forget what I said about elephants and orangs. If these zebras are about anything, it's they
Zebras?
mothers.
They're zebras? Really? They're zebras? Nice, I like how you said that.
Matter of fact, forget what I said about elephants and orangs. If these zebras are about anything, it's they mothers. To the point that recent studies have shown that mother orcas will straight up sacrifice opportunities to have more children just to keep taking care of their adult sons. And at least the ginger apes get an empty nest eventually. Resident orcas are pretty much handcuffed to their kids for life. And like any mother to a man baby, she'll do anything for her little boy, including homicide. In 2016, a mother and son duo were recorded attacking a baby orca, with the son reverse baptizing it and his mom keeping the victim's mom from intervening like some type of orca O-line. And it's believed that this was an example of a male murking a baby to mate with its mother, and Orca Bundy's mom running interference to help her son eventually give her a grandchild.
Bro, what in the actual fuck? That's the mom orca helping the baby or helping the son orca get laid is just wild.
L morality, but W wingman, or I guess in this case wing mom.
Yeah,
another
that's
thing is,
insane.
not only do ocean Oreos negotiate the rest of their lives when having children, they also give up their sleep schedule. Orcas and other dolphins will stay awake for a month or more straight after the birth of a calf.
Yeah,
Calves
I
can't
remember
afford
that.
to rest, since moving around constantly helps keep them warm in the ice-chilled waters until their blubber comes in. And always being on go makes them less of an easy lick for predators. But it also means that mother dolphins go on a dream diet for as long as their children do. And during that time, the calves learn how to dolphin by mimicking every single thing it sees its mother do. It basically becomes her shadow as she teaches it everything it'll ever need to become a future menace to society. All while running on zero sleep. Sleep isn't a problem for a koala though, but because it's koala, almost everything else is. Koalas are notoriously tragic at every avenue of existence, but they do beat the mid-allegations when it comes to their mothering. Especially since the rest of the marsupial
they're good
family
mothers,
really
yeah?
doesn't. Quokkas and kangaroos are known to sacrifice their own child by dropping them out of their pouch to let the predator chasing them deal with it. And
Oh my fucking god, that's insane. They're like, nah, just take my kid, bruh.
the rest of the marsupial
Holy
family really
shit.
doesn't. Quokkas and kangaroos are known to sacrifice their own child by dropping them out of their pouch to let the predator chasing them deal with it.
That's
and Tasmanian
insane.
devils will have 30, sometimes 40 joeys, and the mother will eat all but the final 4 that make it to her nipular regions.
Dude,
Koalas,
what?
though, they have 1 joey, and she makes it her entire world. If she gets chased by a pack of dogs or stalked by a wedgetail, there is no ejecta offspring. Either they both make it or it's 2 packs in 1. Also,
Aw.
mother koalas do go out of their way to provide for their children,
The mama's ride or die.
just not in the way anyone asked to see. Don't watch this part while eating, you know what's coming.
Wait,
But
what's
the one
coming?
thing koalas insist on making their defining trait to eat
What?
can't even be digested by them. Koalas need a special gut bacteria to break down eucalyptus. Without it, they can eat as
Yeah.
much as they want, they'll still become a hashtag to hunger. It's why you can't treat a koala with chlamydia with antibiotics, because if you anti their biotics, they'll be out of life. So mama koala passes on the bacteria by feeding her precious child nuggets, fresh from the source. To be fair, it is actually different from the usual deuces she drops from that end, but technicalities don't really matter when it's being served from a koala's brown eye. But this feces formula means the joey can now get all the nutrients he needs to be the best or just slightly above adequate koala he can be. The one upside to eating.
Oh, hell no. That is nasty, bruh. What the hell? I didn't think that's what he was talking. That's fucking
eucalyptus is that
bro,
koalas rarely
what?
ever need to drink actual water. They usually just get what they need from the leaves. We don't have it that easy. And it's not as simple as just downing gallons of water a day, since that can really mess with your electrolyte levels, which can be a problem if you're an athlete and constantly sweating it out throughout the day. Another struggle bush bears will never know. And for y'all that don't know, I actually just got done with fasting for a whole month, and as anyone who has done it will tell you, eventually, it's not even about the food. It's about not being able to drink with the sun watching, especially if you're stubborn enough to work out or play basketball during it. Like me. Something that probably would have turned me full-time horizontal if it wasn't for Liquid IV. Okay, a little bit of an exaggeration, but Liquid IV was a lifeline.
W sponsor. Yo, Liquid IV is actually hella good, man. You find yourself a little dehydrated, boy, you need to go eat yourself some motherfucking Liquid IV, dog. Or, hey, Pedialyte works great too. Pedialyte's fucking... Pedialyte's great for you too, man.
It's really good for if you haven't hydrated much throughout the day and want to re-up without guzzling water like a camel in the Sahara. It's actually kind of funny because I didn't even realize I was using Liquid IV way before they offered to sponsor me until they sent me their stuff. And it's pretty straightforward. You just pour the Liquid IV into the bottle, shake a little, and just drink. Easy.
Nice.
So easy a koala could do it. Maybe. So if you want to try some of the flavors Liquid IV has to offer, click the link in the description to get a 3-count hydration sample pack with flavors lemon lime, Concord grape, and the concept of water. But all memes aside, the koala is actually pretty underrated as a provider, but probably not as underrated as snakes. You probably wouldn't expect a serpent to get talk time in a video like this, and for a while, neither did scientists. We kinda just assume snake parenting is just, once you got the shell, I wish you well, and that's that. Turns out the Central African python will actually look after her family of snakelets a couple weeks after they hatch.
What?
The mother python guards her kids and coils around the brood to keep them warm. And the same predator that can successfully...
I know about snakes like sitting on their fucking eggs or whatever, or like sitting by their eggs or whatever the hell, but...
deep throat a
I never
hyena,
knew they'd actually fucking protect them. That's
Win
wild.
will babysit over 50 hatchlings until they're able to make it in the outside
Yeah,
world.
that's wild.
It's only
man.
like 2 to 3 weeks, but it's a lot better than most snakes get fresh out the shell. Most just get spawned into life on veteran difficulty and gotta figure out the rest from there.
Yeah.
Reptiles in general are
Just mob
usually less
around.
involved than a cartoon parent. And that's really saying something. These kids had no business making it past the age of 3. Not a single one. But with a lot of reptiles like turtles, they drop and dip. The most parenting they do is just having a bunch of you and hoping that just one lives long enough to continue the cycle. If you happen to get spawned...
Living life like a rugrat? Come on, bro. You gonna live a long, healthy life, homie. Come on.
Parenting they do is just having a bunch of you and hoping that just one lives long enough to continue the cycle. If you happen to get spawned into a snake orgy and have to do the race off rip, that's your business.
Yeah, this fucking
but not
video.
all reptiles are negligent.
This guy got away.
Alligators are incredibly and weirdly
That video's so iconic. That motherfucking lizard got away too, man.
devoted mothers. The same homicide gecko that murks its own kind. Basically, she built a nest for her eggs and then threatens to life expire anything that gets near them. And once the eggs are ready to hatch, they'll call out to the mother from the nest to get her to dig them out. And the same vice grip jaws that can eviscerate a grown man also manage to be gentle enough to help any baby struggling to hatch on their own by lightly cracking the shell. For the next year, she's nature's best bodyguard, carrying her kids in the one place nobody would be stupid enough to reach into. Especially other gators, because as mentioned, they be on Dahmer timing.
Homie, you did not just say gators be on Dahmer timing. That is one absolutely the worst joke you probably ever said. Holy fucking shit. Oh my god, he did not just say that. And 2, they hold them in their mouth? Dude, that's sick. That's actually legendary.
Jaws that can eviscerate a grown man.
Yeah,
also managed to
nothing's getting that.
be gentle enough to help any baby struggling to hatch on their own by lightly cracking the shell. For the next year, she's nature's best bodyguard, carrying her kids in the one place nobody would be stupid enough to reach into. Especially other gators, because as mentioned, they be on Dahmer timing. Croc mothers are just as protective. But with a lot of things in the neighborhood being down for croc omelets, sometimes it's not enough to just have one person looking after them. Some birds and crocodiles will actually work together to protect each other's children in something like a neighborhood watch group. You see, it starts with a bird like a spotted dickup, also known as a thick knee or a stone curlew, laying her family of eggs right next to a clutch of future crocs. That way the giant living snare trap will scare off most threats from even getting near the nest. The trade-off is, if an op like a monitor lizard pulls up all the crockers away, then as far as the bird's concerned, it's a fade on sight. The dick ops will harass and square up to the monitor to protect the crocodile's eggs. Not only does it slow down and probably confuse the hell out of the monitor, the calls of the bird are like a siren for the crocs, who instantly pull up to the nest the moment they hear it. Pretty much the thick knee cosplays as a crocodile baby monitor to protect both families from an act.
I love when animals work together, like like the wolves and the crows, and then I know there's a couple more that we've seen on this too. Dude, that's actually so cool. Oh my god. Hold up, run it back one more time. I want to listen to that whole thing again. This is by far my favorite.
One person looking after them.
The crocodiles.
Some birds and crocodiles will actually work together to protect each other's children in something like a neighborhood watch.
The little birds crocodiles alliance is something I did not see, man. But that's
you see,
sick.
It starts with a bird like a spotted dickup, also known as a thick knee or a stone curlew, laying her family of eggs right next to a clutch of future crocs. That way, the giant living snare trap will scare off most threats from even getting near the nest. The trade-off is, if an op like a monitor lizard pulls up all the crockers away, then as far as the bird's concerned, it's a fate on sight. The dick ops will harass and square up to the monitor to protect the crocodile's eggs.
Bruh.
Not only does it slow down and probably confuse the hell out of the monitor, the calls of the bird are like a siren for the crocs, who instantly pull up to the nest the moment they hear it. Pretty much the thick knee cosplays as a crocodile baby monitor to protect both families from an actual one. I'd call it teamwork, but Mama Croc could really scramble the bird's child right in front of her and think nothing of it.
Just so you know, that bar went over everyone's head. How he acts like a baby monitor to protect everyone else from one. Come on.
Actual one. I'd call it teamwork, but Mama Croc could really scramble the bird's child right in front of her and think nothing of it. But that's the kind of gamble this bird takes. Some birds make a similar deal with gators. Some birds will go out of their way to start a family right above a group of alligators.
Bro, what?
And just like with the thick knee and the croc, the alligators protect the birds from smaller predators like raccoons and opossums just by existing. They pay the gators off by yeeting the weakest child out the nest on some straight Sparta type of beat.
Homie, what the fuck is that?
Croc, the alligators protect the birds from smaller predators like raccoons and opossums just by existing. They pay the gators off by yeeting the weakest child out the nest on some straight Sparta type of beat. The bird parents get to use resources on chicks that actually have a chance at life, and the gators get free protein airdrop to their head. Lots of birds have ways of keeping their next generation from becoming past tense. A bird called a killdeer will fake a career-ending injury in order to get a predator's attention and then act like it's limping over to its final resting spot in order to lead the predator away from a hidden clutch of eggs. Then there's the hornbill. This alternative toucan seals herself inside the nest with a literal wall of a mixture of fruit paste, mud, and poop. The wall takes hours, sometimes days to build, and only once she's entombed herself will she lay her eggs. And for the next 3 to 5 months, the hornbill's entire world is that tiny, dark birth room.
Bro, what in the actual fuck? This is the weirdest one I think we've seen.
She commits to the role even further by molting all of her flight feathers, since she's pretty much grounded for the foreseeable future. She does have the father to funnel her food through the tiny opening, but it also means if her partner...
Okay, so, yeah, but if the male dies, then... Wow, dude, what a combo. If the male dies, then it's a wraps for all of them.
Slips up and gets put on a milk cart, and that nest becomes a coffin for her and her children. Up to 5 months of not only self-imposed quarantine, but every second of it with a bunch of newborns. Not only that, but she gets the honor of shoveling out the piles of digested fruit mush her babies assault her with multiple times a day. Because what goes in will come out. It's literally 5 months of the same different day, and we be popping BC like Tic Tacs if we had to do half of that. And then there's the white-crowned plover, who will literally select violence with anything that gets anywhere near their nest. Any baboon or monitor lizard that tries gets dealt with extreme prejudice, because these birds believe in EOF, equal opportunity phase. But probably the best bird mom of all would probably be the hummingbird. Mainly because she has to bring up the entire family by herself. The male doesn't contribute anything beyond baby matter.
So
he can't even be bothered to build the nest. All of it's on her, which she does, assembling a teacup-sized nest from scratch. From then on, if she's not incubating the eggs to keep them alive, she's looking for food to keep herself going, which is already hard enough since a hummingbird can easily go from feast to flatline if they go more than a couple hours between meals. Motherhood only becomes more of a jihad once the egg or eggs hatch. Because now she pretty much has to work overtime to carry the gene pool without folding on herself or her children.
That's insane.
The thing is, the motherhood buff is so crucial that some hummingbirds like the ruby-throated single-handedly have some of the highest nesting rates of birds in that area. It's about 45 days straight from when she starts constructing the nest to when the little hummers can make it out on their own. And the first thing she does when they move out is start the entire process all over. No, seriously, she'll often raise 2 families back to back in one summer. She does it all with a father that couldn't be more of a deadbeat if his heart retired. So yeah, hummingbirds might be some of the most
Dude, that's insane. I didn't even know they'll raise back-to-back fucking families. That's
appreciated single mothers in nature.
Yeah,
probably not as much as the cheetah though. If single parenting was a sport, she'd be D1 from day one.
Damn,
like the hummingbird, she hard carries the entire family while the baby daddy drops a load and hits the road. But unlike the hummingbird who has to look after 1 or 2, mother cheetahs are responsible for 3, 4, sometimes up to 6 cubs.
Jesus.
And it's not like she has a roster of aunties to help play daycare. She's on her own. Every time she goes out for groceries, there's a small chance she comes back to a chalk outline where her kid used to be. And with lions, leopards, hyenas, and wild dogs all being major
basically everything, just swooping the food from the cheetah.
Stops to a cheetah's pursuit of happiness. In some places, only 10% of the cheetah cubs that come out actually make it to adulthood. It's such a struggle that cheetahs will often overheat.
Only 10%?
After a successful hunt. But not because like their systems need to cool down, but because the anxiety of catching food and not knowing how long until a pride of lions comes in and presses you for your plate literally causes them to stress heat. The flight or fight response, and evolution did not build cheetahs to fight. Now add in the fact that their hunting success rate is like 40% to begin with, and now you see just how bad cheetah moms have it. They're underrated mothers, because if they weren't, their entire population would be in a pack. A mother cheetah named Sabella successfully raised.
They are so cute though, you can't deny that cheetahs are cute as fuck.
19 cubs solo, meaning a third of the cheetahs in that area came from her. That's how hard she carried. Now they probably struggle less if they formed a coalition of females the same way males do, but until they do, cheetahs will continue to be the world's hardest working single mother. Or maybe a respectable second. There's one mom that just might top her. But before we go there, here are some dishonorable mentions. Moms that will personally make you appreciate the one you have more. The cuckoo, for using mob violence to force other birds to raise their children. The harp seal, for abandoning her pup at 2 weeks old to go hook up with other males, even though the pup can't swim, move, or really do anything for itself.
Dude, what?
For the next 6 weeks. Not to mention putting that type of stuff in polar bear country is actually villainous.
Yeah.
Scorpions, because Mama Scorpion will carry her brood on her back to protect them from predators, but she'll also eat them if she doesn't get enough food herself. Quokkas, for the aforementioned child eating. Pandas,
Dude,
because if she has twins, her negligence guarantees one of them is left to die. And that's assuming she doesn't roll.
If she has twins? Oh my god, she has twins? She's like, nah, I'm only taking care of one.
Over and accidentally de-life the one she chose. Pandas prove that China's one-child policy hit more than just people. But the most underrated mom in the entire animal kingdom? Definitely the octopus. Her arc reads like a Greek tragedy. The mother octopus will spend months looking after thousands of eggs, during which she won't eat once. She'll negotiate one of her arms as a meal before she leaves her family unattended. Octomom does nothing but guard the eggs and gently wash them by squirting water over them for 5 months straight.
Jesus,
and it's not like with the hormone relying on her husband being an Uber Eats.
Wait, she doesn't eat at all?
The male octopus is already a casualty to post-nut clarity at this point. By the time the eggs hatch, she's basically a moving corpse. Her immune system weakens, her body breaks down, and she just deteriorates. And if she doesn't fall to starvation, her story ends with being torn apart by predators while she's too exhausted to defend herself. It's why most octopus are born orphans. And sometimes it's not just for months. One mother octopus set a record after she protected her eggs.
They literally just sit there and protect their eggs until they die, bro?
Over 4 years. By far the longest brooding time ever seen. And even with the longer plot, the ending was still the same. Once the eggs finally hatched, the mother octopus finally got to rest. Permanently. So be glad you're not an octopus. They're born orphans, live life virgins, males get KO'd by acorn clarity, and starting a family ends with you getting unsubscribed from life. But that's gonna do.
Holy shit, dude. Octopuses do have it hella bad. Oh my god. Wow. At least they got little suction cups though, right? Like, that's cool. And they can change colors. That's kind of cool too.
For this video, make sure you drink water, preferably with liquid IV in it. If there was ever a day to hug your moms, it would be today. Tell her you appreciate her. And I mean her, like, not just Instagram, like, actually tell her. Some of y'all moms don't even have Instagram and y'all do it. I never understood that. Thanks to Liquid IV for sponsoring this video. Shout out to my mom for sponsoring my existence. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
True. Oh, look at him. Look at Steve Irwin.
I was nearly crying to get this close and be loved on by this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous mummy orang was such a touching experience.
Aww.
One that I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
Oh, dude, that's cool. Man, that was such a great video, man. Holy shit. How do you not love that? God damn, man. Well, hey, yo, make sure to go subscribe to Casual Geographic if you haven't already. God damn, man. God damn, what a classic, man. What a classic.